Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Demon Slayer. I can create my own breathing. Chapter 31. Sagayama. The four of them, Gensoda, walked together. Makomo was jumping up and down, looking particularly excited. I wonder what Master Linlong's expression will be when he sees us. It should surprise him. After all, this time we have 4 spots after 5. Sabito looked like he was thinking. I should be more excited. After all, we are all students taught by him. The teacher will be very pleased that we all passed the test this time. Tomioka Gyu said calmly. Master Linlong is so gentle, maybe he will cry when the time comes. If I guess right, remember to save some face for Master Linlong. Makomo jumped up and down like a cute rabbit. What do you think, Soda? Makomo asked, and the other 2 people also looked at Minamoto Soda curiously. I'm thinking about how much food I'm going to eat when I go back later, and I wonder what Master Linlong has prepared for us. Yuan Kangtai had a smile on his lips, as if he thought he would be able to eat something delicious soon. Everyone sighed, and then burst into laughter, obviously shocked by this junior brother's obsession with food. Speaking of which, Master Linlong must be lonely sometimes. Yuan Kangtai looked up at the sky. He didn't know what the old man was doing at this time. Are you practicing your sword, but performing a mission, or are you worried about them? Master Linlong is a very special existence to Sabito and I. Makomo seemed to be lost in memories. Senior brother Sabito and I were both orphans. We were picked up by Master Linlong when we were young. He taught us about the world, teach us how to breathe. When I was a child, I felt that Master Linlong was the gentlest and cutest person in the world. In the future, I also want to be a breeder like him and take over the burden of his old man. Makomo's tone began to soften, as if he was unwilling to do so. Disturbing that warm memory. Sabito took over, but the master is not happy sometimes. He has his own knot in his heart. One time I watched the master crying against the tombstone behind the mountain. That's master feeling guilty. Although I don't have much contact with Master Linlong, I know that he must have died in that place because so many of the disciples he trained failed to pass the selection at Tengshi Mountain. I think that as a teacher, he has the greatest responsibility. Gensoda said calmly as he looked at the Sagiri mountain that was about to arrive. He reached out and pressed the white fox mask on his waist. This mask is the only thing he can do for his disciples. The meaning of the mask is to ward off evil spirits. He really wants everyone to be safe. This is Master Linlong's greatest wish. Yuan Soda looked at everyone who was silent because of what he said. He changed his tone and said, "Haha, everyone, cheer up. When Master Linlong saw the 3 of you, he thought you were defeated. We want to bring the best joy to the master." Immediately afterwards, Gensoda ran forward, and the voice of joy resounded throughout the valley. Let's compete to see who reaches Mount Seijiji first. The last one will have to wash today's dishes and imitate the braying of a pig. Wait for me, Soda, I don't want to be a pig. Hey, Kauta, you are too shameless. I'll catch you later and let you feel what it means to be cared for by a senior brother. Tomioka Gyu, who was left at the end, just smiled faintly. This scene was extremely heartwarming for him who had lost his sister. But the pace under his feet gradually quickened. After all, who wants to imitate a pig's braying? Top of mountain. Lin Longzhou kept pacing at the door recently. He received the news from Yingya and learned that all his disciples had passed the test this time. However, he was still a little uneasy, fearing that they would be seriously injured. After receiving the news, they would come to the top of the mountain every day to wait for them. Noisy sounds kept coming from the mountainside, and the voices of boys and girls laughing around Linlong sounded as sweet as the sounds of nature. He stopped walking, not wanting his disciples to see his nervousness. People wearing various colors of feathers appeared in front of him one by one. Master Linlong, I'm back, Teacher Linlong. Master Linlong, we have all passed the selection, which brings you a lot of face. Master, Makomo suddenly jumped into Ryazu Kanji's arms and rubbed him hard. Lin Longzhou looked at the 4 people who were intact for the last time, and finally couldn't help his emotions and hugged them together, tears streaming down his cheeks. It's good to come back, it's good to come back. The usually stern old man was so nervous that he couldn't even speak. He hugged everyone hard. Great, you are all back alive. None of the children sent away over the years came back again. Seeing that this time the 4 people were intact, they finally couldn't suppress their emotions. The 4 of them hugged each other and cried loudly. Even Gensauda felt a little sad. He regretted the unfortunate fate of many senior brothers. Although he avenged them on the mountain, it seemed that evil spirits were also victims. He clenched the Nichiren blades in his hand. Muzan, I will definitely kill you, just wait, I hope that day will come soon. In the evening, 5 people sat around the boiler. The boiler cooked fat beef hot pot with red soup. The 4 of them ate with their mouths full of oil. Only Master Linlong looked at them and ate very little. Master Linlong, why don't you eat it? Are you reluctant to eat it? Yuan Kangtai asked curiously while chewing a piece of winter bamboo shoots. Master is so happy to see us all back that he can't eat anymore. Makomo picked up a piece of freshly blanched beef and put it in Gensoda's bowl. Is that so? Master, please eat more. Don't be afraid of not having enough food. I will go up the mountain and hunt down some wild boars for you tomorrow. Let everyone have a taste of wild pork. Yuan Soda picked up a piece of potato again and was vague, said. Awesome Soda, maybe we can go fishing another day. I remember Giyu, do you like radish salmon? Giyu, who was nibbling a piece of radish, paused, nodded, and agreed with Brother Sabito's statement. Salmon, senior brother, do you like stewed food? I remember that this fish seems to have several places that are particularly suitable for sashimi. You must remember to try it next time you have a chance. Yuan Soda put down the bowl and chopsticks, expressing his interest. Salmon are also of great interest. Let's wait for your team uniforms and Nichiren blades first. Once you become a member of the Demon Slayer Corps, you may be very busy. If your first mission location is near the seaside, you can still go fishing. If it's inland, forget it. Master Linlong spoke. Then just wait like this, Master. You guys eat slowly. I had some insights when I fought with Shimo on the mountain. I'll go to the room to think about it. Minamoto Soda put on his shoes and walked outside. Everyone was already used to it. With such a talented young junior brother, they felt more at ease. I don't know what Soda has realized this time. Makomo was a little distracted looking at Minamoto Soda's leaving back. Hey, Makomo, you're a Watcher's Stone, right? You haven't even eaten yet. Sabito teased. Senior brother. Makomo's face turned red. He wondered if the hot pot base was too spicy. Gensoda came to his hut and sat up on his knees. There was an aqua blue futon on the floor. He began to conceive of his breathing, and he knew from that battle that his breathing skills were immature. Assuming that he can be in a breathing state all the time, then his improvement will be to the next level. Completely concentrated breathing is like a technique. If you want to achieve a state of complete concentration and constant concentration, then proficiency is essential. Based on my current situation, my 3 breathing methods each have their own merits. If I choose one as a regular target, I will have to take a step slower when I want to use the remaining ones. If I can find out the similarities of all breathing methods, and use the most basic set of basic breathing methods that are common to every breathing method, this will not only strengthen my body, but also allow me to there are other options when it comes to fighting. Yuan Soda stood up. Yes. That should be it. Without further ado, let me go to the back mountain to exercise. Darkness enveloped the entire back mountain, with only a glimmer of moonlight shining through. Frogs and insects kept chirping from the back mountain. Yuan Soda came to the back mountain waterfall, where the water content is the richest. Gen Soda wanted to start from the first breath he came into contact with, carefully feel the power brought by breathing, and then try to normalize breathing. He didn't ask his master. He didn't know if he could come up with a basic breathing method that was completely different from this world. After asking his master and using their methods preconceptionally, he might not be able to find the one that suits him best. Breathing of water full collection. Yuan Soda's whole body was filled with a faint feeling of water. His body's temperature increased, his blood flowed rapidly, but his heartbeat dropped, and his muscle strength and endurance increased significantly. This is his strength when he activates breathing enhancement. He needs to feel this strength now and normalize this state. Gen Soda closed his eyes and closed a perspective to focus more on his inner vision. This was what the meditation masters Minamoto Soda saw doing before traveling through time. Not sure how to start, he came up with the practice of meditation. Gen Soda began to slowly feel the flow of each breath, focusing on the feeling of exhaling and inhaling. Each breath brings a large amount of oxygen, and it is this oxygen that is broken down by the cells, giving it powerful strength. Yuan Kangtai pays attention to the depth of his breathing, whether it is shallow or deep. The bigger it is, the more power will be generated, but the time to gain power will be slower. Just like listening to music, once the rhythm of breathing is messed up, not only will the sword draw be inconsistent, but the increase in power will be quite limited. Once the body cannot adjust its breathing by itself and allows the consciousness to adjust, the energy will be separated and the speed of the knife will be much slower. Gensoda gradually entered a state of meditation. At first, he had a lot of distracting thoughts in his mind, thinking of the world before the time travel and the unique look Makomo looked at him. He thought of Master Linlong and Mr. Todorotaro's expectations for him, but he quickly threw these behind him. He began to feel the increase in strength in his body. The blood carried a huge amount of oxygen to all parts of the body, and strength far beyond that of ordinary people began to emerge. The heart beats at a very low frequency, but every vibration delivers blood to the whole body to provide oxygen. What Gensoda didn't know was that his body sitting cross-legged next to the waterfall gathered a large amount of water elements. The water flow surrounded him and seemed to resonate with his breathing. With every breath, the water flow changes, vaguely fitting the world. Yuan Soda entered an ethereal state. He didn't know what was happening in the outside world. He just felt that his body became light and airy, with a cool feeling, as if there was a huge water ball outside his body surrounding him. In this state, he has forgotten to maintain the breathing method, but the breath of water still exists, like Gensoda's most steadfast partner, existing in every corner of his body. After eating, several people also came to the back mountain, and they saw a surprising scene in front of them. Sabito asked Master Shang Linlong in a low voice, "Master, what kind of state is Soda in? Why do I feel like he is going to become an immortal?" With a dang sound, Makomo gave him a hard chestnut, and she did not dare to speak loudly. "Brother Sabito, what are you talking about? What does it mean to become an immortal? This obviously requires the mastery of magical skills, right?" Master Linlong couldn't complain about how joyful the two people's words were. He said softly, "Your junior brother's complete collection Changjong's breathing of water is almost completed." What? Several people were stunned when they heard this, not knowing what it meant. Alas, Master Linlong sighed. Is this the wave behind the Yangtze River pushing the wave ahead? This new disciple must be too evil. Total concentration and constant concentration is a state, and it is also a ticket. When you reach this level, it is equivalent to using breathing methods to strengthen your body all day long. This state is also called a pillar. The entry-level rules. When you maintain the normal state for a certain period of time, you will have one foot on the threshold of the pillar. Several people showed surprised expressions when they heard this. So junior brother is already so strong, he can actually compare to Jonju. Sabito said, with a sour feeling in his mouth. After all, he is the senior brother of a few people, and the results are not as good as those of junior brother Gyu. After joining for a few months he can't compare to his new junior brother. It's not as exaggerated as you said. I'm just talking about the admission ticket. Your junior brother should still have some way to go before becoming a pillar. Although he will definitely not run away in the end, I just don't know what he will end up with after taking so many breaths. Name, Master Linlong said. I'm really curious about that day. I hope I can always fight side by side with junior brother Soda in the future. Tomioka Gyu showed a long-lost smile, obviously full of expectations for the future life. Master, senior brother, look at Soda's place. Makomo pointed at Gensoda's position and said. Everyone hurriedly looked around and saw that the huge water ball that Yuan Kangtai had condensed had disappeared without a trace. Now, a faint purple appeared at his feet, and then gradually covered his body. Breath of Thunder Complete Collection Changjong. When Yuan Soda was meditating, his subconscious kept telling himself that he had to take a completely different path from others. He didn't really want the normal state of each breathing method. What he wants is a kind of basic breathing that everyone can learn and can use every kind of breathing perfectly. Under his deliberate guidance, the breath of thunder gradually disappeared, and the white air began to crawl all over his body. Breath of speed full concentration constant. It is a new normal state. The four people on the other side couldn't suppress their inner surprise. Junior brother Kang Tai actually completed the normal state of the 3 breathing methods in just a few minutes, and he did it in a quick switch. Lin Longzhou didn't care anymore at this time, his heart had long been numb, and now that Yuan Soda said that he was the Ghost King, he had nothing to say. Gradually, the white light also disappeared. Yuan Soda felt that they each had different states, but also had the most basic similarities. He put the breath of water, the breath of thunder, and the breath of speed together, trying to find out what they had in common. Purple lightning, white light, and blue water flow appeared beside him at the same time. The 3 breaths were used at the same time. Now is the time to remove their differences. PFF'd, Gensauda spit out a mouthful of blood. This was because it was the first time he used so many kinds of breathing, and his body couldn't bear it, but his eyes were still closed tightly. Makomo saw that Minamoto Soda was suffering from the backlash and looked nervous, and wanted to rush up to see his condition. A hand tugged at her clothes. It was Tomioka Giyu. He looked at Makomo and said seriously, "You can't go now." Soda is at the best moment of understanding. He vomited blood because he might have to strip away all the special characteristics of the 3 breathing methods. It is normal not to notice the injury for a while. If you go over and interrupt his inspiration this time, you don't know when the next time will be. Giyu is right, Makomo, if you still care about him, you will be in trouble. You have to believe him. Master Linlong looked at Gensauda, who had stabilized, and remembered what his grandfather told him when he was a child about the power of the original swordsman. It is said that the original breathing method was created by him and passed down. Soda, can you also reach that level? Let's wait and see. He vomited a mouthful of blood but didn't notice it. Yuan Kangta felt that his breathing had become much smoother. Using all 3 different kinds of breathing caused a great burden on his body. Now he is gradually using their unique things together. Once picked off, everything outside the body disappears. The long breathing sound sounded again, like a hidden dragon rising into the sky. The giant dragon in the abyss rose to the sky and breathed heavily. It's like a baby landing on the ground for the first time, wantonly and greedily absorbing the air between heaven and earth. A basic breathing method that has never been seen before has appeared. It does not contain any elements and does not have any moves. It looks even inferior to ordinary breathing, but its future is infinitely broad. It is like a starter that allows you to use any other breathing method while maintaining normal breathing. Why didn't anyone invent this kind of breathing before? Only a person as talented as Minamoto Soda can create new breaths and use plural breathing techniques. Yuan Soda also discovered that Changjiang in this state can increase the power of the breathing method that is usually used alone by 30%, just like an amplifier to amplify the breathing carried on it. Yuan Soda slowly opened his eyes. Even at this time, he still maintained the normal breathing method. His vision became clear and his hearing became very keen. It seemed that he had opened the door to a new world. When his ears moved, he heard 4 breathing sounds not far away. He knew that they were his friends and teachers. Master Linlong, Sabito, Giyu, Makomo, why are you here? Gensoda jumped off the boulder and walked to them. Of course I'm here to see what peerless martial arts you practice secretly in the back mountains, my good junior brother. Sabito said sourly, but he was really happy for his junior brother. The 3 of them looked at Gensauda, and suddenly felt that they couldn't understand him. A few months ago, Sabito and the others could still feel the youthfulness of Gensauda. Even if they create new breaths and new moves, even if they are far different from Gensauda, they still feel that there is a chance to catch up. But this time, Sabito stood next to Gensauda and felt that the person next to him seemed to have undergone some essential changes, as immeasurable as a tsunami. Master Linlong looked up at Yuan Kangtai, is it done? Yes. Yuan Kauta nodded. Then he looked at the people around him who were looking forward to him. I figured out a new technique, which I named the normal breathing technique. Do you want to learn it? Think. Happy voices came one after another, with a kind of colorful warmth. They fit together like honey flowing through them, just like their days these days, which were incomparably beautiful. In the next few days, Yuan Soda gave them the breathing method he had learned last time without reservation. In the past few days, you can see people meditating on the boulders in front of the waterfall. The first thing they tried was the most familiar water breathing. Even if they failed to learn the breathing method given to them by Yuan Kangtai, the normal state of water breathing was enough for their daily use. Yuan Soda held the teacup, took a sip, and let out a sigh of praise. This cup of tea was made by randomly picking a few plant leaves that Master Linlong said were not poisonous. After drying them, he collected them and brewed a cup when he had nothing to do. It tasted unique. How does it feel to make your own tea? Lin Longzhou stood next to Yuan Kangtai for the first time, and followed Yuan Kangtai's perspective and looked at the few practitioners on the boulder. Master, you know me. In my evaluation, there are only 3 states: drinkable, good to drink, and not drinkable. Can you guess which category the cup in my hand belongs to? Yuan Soda shrugged and looked at Anjing kneeling down. Makomo sitting on the stone. His solemn expression made Gensoda couldn't help but feel amused. Master Linlong did not answer his question. He said calmly, counting the days, it's time to arrive. You mean the day when the sword is issued? Yuan Kangtai asked curiously. Master Linlong nodded, yes, it's already the 14th day. I don't know which knife forger will come to deliver the knife this time. Master, when can I see my sister again? I haven't seen her in half a month. I don't know if her life in Butterfly House is good or not. Gensauda felt the teacup on the teacup with his thumb. Patterns and a burning sensation appear on the fingertips. It should be quite busy. After all, humans and ghosts are different. People will die if they are seriously injured, and they will die if they are not treated quickly if they are slightly injured. Therefore, logistics and medical care are generally the busiest places. Master Linlong looked at Tomioka Giyu, who had already stood up, and continued to say to Gensoda, but with your sister's qualifications, she is now a senior member of Butterfly House. I heard from your sister that you almost fell on the mountain at first. She saved you from death. Yeah, Yuan Soda nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. I almost thought I wouldn't survive. At this time, a black crow flew to the old man's shoulder, seeming to be conveying some message. Master Linlong clapped his hands and gently called out to the 2 people who were practicing. That's it for today, your uniforms and Nichiren blades have arrived. Sabito and Makomo both exited their training state. The 2 of them also gradually mastered Changjiang's water breathing. Because they also wanted to learn stronger breathing methods from Gensauda, the 2 of them were also working hard to practice the normal breathing method given to them by Gensauda. Tomioka Giyu thought that he could master water breathing, so he declined the new breathing method taught by Genso Taiji and continued to practice water breathing. What's wrong, Master? Have our Nichiren blades arrived? Sabito seemed particularly excited. He had been coveting Gensoda's Nichiren blades for a long time, and he was the only one among them who was most anxious. Makomo got a dagger that can be used for self-defense because of Minamoto Soda's relationship. Only he and Giyu haven't touched it yet, and he is particularly curious about what his Nichiren blades will look like. It is said that it can transform into different forms according to the user's breathing, but the appearance of Gensoda's blade keeps changing. Is it because the breathing he uses is different? I don't know if my half-hearted thunder breath will change. Several people were staring at the intersection eagerly, as if their things would arrive in the next moment. Only Genso was too uninterested and leaned against the pillar. After all, he had already obtained his Nichiren blades. A burly figure appeared, with a red fireman mask on his face, carrying a huge box on his back, which seemed to be full of things and kept making noises. There was a hint of surprise on Yuan Soda's face, as if he had met an acquaintance. Mr. Tetsutora, is that you? Gensoda asked tentatively. He had already stood up and was still holding the colorless Nichiren blades in his hand. As the blade trembled slightly, it seemed that met someone familiar. Minamoto Soda knew that this person must be Tetsuro Taro, otherwise his soul-stealing sword would not have such a reaction. The burly man took off his mask, revealing a majestic face, and then laughed, which softened the majestic face a lot. Soda, you really did it. You really lived up to my expectations of you, and you also lived up to my Nichiren blades. Tetsutora put down the big box he was carrying and greeted everyone. Tamagaoka Giyu, Sabito, Makomo, and Mr. Linlong, it's been so long. Taro, you are still so strong. It must have been 5 years since we last met. Lin Longzhou said with a faint recollection, as if he had met an old acquaintance. Yuan Soda was a little surprised, so you guys know each other. Rinlong Sakanji and Tetsuro Taro looked at each other, Haha, of course, I once invited Taro to be my stepson. His status in the sword forging village is just like yours now. Don't look at Tedora Taro as a sword forger. He might be more skilled at killing ghosts with a sword than you are. Master Linlong opened the box on the ground and put a small box and 3 swords with them. The sheathed Nichiren blades were taken out. Haha, it's not as exaggerated as you said, Mr. Linlong. Now I don't think about swordsmanship anymore. I just do my job well. Tetsutora Taro scratched his head, obviously agreeing with Linlong Sakanji's statement. Tetsutora came up and gave Gensoda a big hug. You're so good, kid. I let you pass the competition. You chopped off the lower string, didn't you? It's really amazing. He obviously received the news from others. Even he who had high hopes for Gensoda was surprised. It seemed that the young man was growing up too fast. Feeling the huge pressure from Tetsutora's chest muscles, Yuan Soang couldn't help but poke his head out. No, that bottom string is not suitable for fighting at all. After I killed all his younger brothers, he has no fighting power to rely on, so everything is die. He just smiled lightly when he heard Minamoto Soda simplifying things so much. He punched Gensoda's shoulder hard. All in all, you did a good job this time, worthy of the Nichiren blades I made specially for you. At this time, Sabito and the others dug out the black combat uniforms from the box and kept gesticulating on their bodies. After seeing it, Tetsutora explained to them, this is the special clothing of our Demon Slayer Corps. It is fireproof, waterproof and breathable. It can also prevent the claws of some weak evil spirits. Then Tetsutora pointed to the Nichiren blades on the ground. Nichiren blades, also called color-changing swords, since you all know I will make a long story short. They are taken from the orangutan scarlet ore you selected and made by us sword forgers. Nichiren blades will appear in different colors depending on the user. You can pull them out and give them a try. When Sabito and the others heard this, they couldn't help but give it a try. Giyu pulled out the sword, and the blade slowly turned aqua blue. Tetsutaro praised, the purest breath of water. Then Sabito and Makomo also pulled out their Nichiren blades. Makomo's blade turned light blue, and Sabito's turned dark blue. It was obviously influenced by Gensoda. One had a little breath of speed, and the other had a little speed breath. A little breath of thunder. They are all relatively rare colors. I must have put a lot of effort into breathing techniques, Tetsutora said. Then several of them put on the black combat uniforms brought by Tetsutora Taro, with blue haori with flowing cloud patterns on them, and white fox masks slung around their waists. Tetsutora looked at this harmonious scene and said, why don't you name your team and form the Demon Slayer Corps independently? The 4 people who passed the trial all came from the same sect, which is a rare occurrence in the history of the Demon Slayer Corps. Master Linlong nodded, that's true. After establishing a team, you can always be together in future actions. Gensoda asked curiously, is there such a team among the Demon Slayer squad? Probably not, but shouldn't there be a precedent for everything? If you set up a team this time, I can write to the head of the family and let him see if this is feasible. Linlong Sakanji said. Speaking of this, Tetsutora turned to look at Gensoda. Soda, did you pick up a kind of bead after killing the evil ghost with the soul-stealing sword? Yuan Soda was stunned for a moment, then he took out dozens of beads of different shapes from his pocket. Are these things? Tetsutora Taro was particularly surprised when he saw Gensoda take out a large handful. Soda, how many evil ghosts have you killed? I forgot to tell you, this is what you will keep after you kill them with the soul-stealing knife. Something down there. He also took out a fiery red bead from his pocket. I call it Xuanju. It originated from an evil ghost I killed. His body unexpectedly did not dissipate after death, leaving only a red heart. I used the material of that heart to forge 2 Nichiren blades, both of which were used by you. At that time, I discovered that Nichiren blades added with special materials can rob some of their special characteristics when killing evil spirits. Then he threw the fiery red beads into his mouth and chewed them. The function of Zon beads is to improve human physical strength and speed up recovery. The rarer the color, the stronger the effect. Then when I first killed the evil ghost, he also lost one. Isn't it because of my special physique? Genso asked curiously. He really thought that this was the benefit of his time travel, but now tell him it was the invention of another genius. This was hard for Yuan Soda to accept for a while. Tetsutora laughed. looked at Minamoto Soda and said, Soda, have you forgotten that the one you picked up at the beginning was also made by me? Yuan Soda suddenly realized that this made it clear. He looked at the beads in his pocket and distributed them to everyone. In that case, let's all eat some and see if it's any use. Brother Sabito, you eat first. Gensoda handed Sabito the blue beads dropped by the mermaid demon. Senior brother, eat first. You are the senior brother. You take the lead. Sabito looked at the turquoise beads in his hand that didn't look edible, and fell into the biggest crisis of his life. He held the beads and looked at everyone with a confused look on his face. Do you have to eat it? Try it, senior brother. Didn't you see that Mr. Tiehu has already eaten one? Yuan Kang said leisurely. He also wanted to know if there would be any other harm from eating this thing. Sabito looked at his own figure, and then at Tetsuko Taro's burly body that looked like the reincarnation of the Hulk. He said weakly, I feel like we can give it a try with someone else. Junior brother Giyu is pretty good. Tetsuko Taro watched Sabito's excuses quietly. He hit Sabito's shoulder hard and laughed, what are you afraid of? I just ate one in front of you. Do you think this thing can be found everywhere? Its the value may be greater than you can imagine. Xuanju can only drop one from each ghost. The higher the rating of the ghost, the higher the level of the Xuanju dropped. This one in your hand can probably slightly improve one of your physical attributes. Hurry up, eat it and feel it, and you will know whether what I say is true. Sabito looked at Tetsutora's unfaithful expression, gritted his teeth and prepared to fight. He swallowed the green beads in one gulp, his face flushed, as if he had taken poison. After a while, under the eager gaze of everyone, Sabito opened his eyes. His eyes became bright and clear, changing his previous embarrassment. He grabbed Yuan Soda's arm and said, Good junior brother, can you give me a few more? This thing is really useful. I feel that my strength is 3 points higher than that of me who didn't eat just now. It's incredible. Hearing his disciple say this, Lin Longzhou was slightly shocked. He knew that although this disciple was a little offline at ordinary times, he would never talk nonsense at this time. It seems that the Xuanju Tetsutora said actually has the effect he said. He is really an incredible genius. He stopped Sabito and said, Sabito, your junior brother wants to keep it for himself. Why don't you think about practicing more and just find a shortcut? Your junior brother kills the evil ghosts one by one with his life. You want it right away. Do you think it fits? Listening to the master's slightly serious tone, Sabito stopped his movements and scratched his head shyly, aren't I just excited? Master, you don't know, the moment that green bead melted in my body, it was like a warm current passed through me, and then I felt that my strength had become much stronger. Gen Soda handed the black beads in his hand to Sabito again, since they are useful, I will give you a few more. These beads were dropped by my men who killed Shashian on the mountain. The quality should not be that high. You take it as a healing agent. Sabito hesitated for a moment, then shook his head, forget it, junior brother, you can keep it for yourself. Master is right, since you got the opportunity, we can't force it. Killing ghosts is also very dangerous. Without saying a word, Minamoto Soda put 3 black beads into Sabito's pocket, and then took out 2 different colored black beads and put them in the hands of Makomo and Tomioka Giyu respectively. Before they could speak, Minamoto Soda said first, take these, don't be polite to me. Let's not talk about how I can get these again in the future. I still have 2 of the most bizarre ones in my hand. I want these to be of high quality. A little is enough, and the rest can be made up by killing more evil ghosts later. Tomioka Giyu looked at the Xuanju in his hand with a slight warmth in his heart. Although they were nominally senior brothers of Gensoda, in terms of actions, Gensoda had always taken care of them. He clenched the bead in his hand and kept this thought in his heart. If there is a situation that his junior brother cannot solve in the future, let him be the backup for his junior brother. The difference between the two was Makomo. She smiled playfully at Gensoda and was about to put the blue bead into her mouth. Gensoda saw this scene and stopped her quickly. Makomo, don't worry, I'll give you another try. Brother Sabito, I don't know if what you say is reliable or not. He swallowed the black beads dropped by Tioni and Mukago in one gulp, as if to verify something. As soon as he took it into his mouth, he felt a refreshing taste, as if he was eating a delicious fruit, and then a warm current came from his abdomen and spread to all parts of his body. It's like a river running with no end, and every part of your body feels strengthened. The calluses on his hands from holding the knife for a long time gradually fell off, revealing skin as smooth as a baby. The black hair began to grow longer, and the face became slightly more determined, a little more serious than the original delicate face. Several people were a little surprised when they saw Yuan Kangtai's visible changes. The power of this mysterious bead was too wonderful. Yuan Soda opened his eyes, and his pupils radiated aqua blue light, attracting everyone's attention. He said with a hint of surprise, "It really works. I feel that after taking Xuanju, all aspects have improved. Judging from my current physical condition, my normal speed has improved by several levels. Makomo, Giyu, you should eat it too, it should exceed your expectations." After the two of them swallowed it, they soon showed surprised looks, obviously having gained a lot. Gensoda came to Makomo and made a few gestures with his hands. "Makomo, you seem to have grown taller." Really, Makomo became very pleasantly surprised, even more excited than she was about gaining strength. For girls, growing taller is really a dream thing, and gaining strength and improving speed are more important than anything else. She carefully gestured at her and Minamoto Soda's shoulders and found that they had indeed grown 1 centimeter taller. She cheered with joy and hugged Minamoto Soda. "Thank you Soda for the gift, I like it very much." Gensoda blushed slightly and wanted to say that this was not a gift, but looking at Makomo's happy expression, he dismissed the unpleasant words. After watching Gensoda hand out all the beads he had worked so hard to obtain to everyone, Ryazu Kanji and Tetsutora exchanged glances, and each admired their good vision. At this moment, they thought that Gensoda already had a leader. Basic qualities to possess. Tetsutora looked at the boys and girls hugging each other and smiled. Then he put the box on his back and seemed ready to leave. "Soda, Sabito, Makomo, Giyu, and Mr. Linlong, my purpose has been accomplished. It's time to leave here. Remember to familiarize yourself with your weapons and combat uniforms. I believe you will encounter new tasks soon," Tetsutaro said. "I have other things to do, so I won't talk to you anymore. Kauta, I am still collecting raw materials for my final weapon. You can rest assured and wait. In the future, you will have a peerless magic weapon." Tetsutora looked at Gensoda. His words were soothing, but there was no doubt that he knew what he said would definitely come true. Yuan Soda nodded vigorously. He was very fond of the tall Mr. Tetora. "Goodbye, Mr. Tiehu." Everyone bid farewell to Tetsutora. Master Linlong looked at the neatly dressed people and felt extremely pleased. This was the first batch of Demon Slayer members he had brought out. And it is a rare 4-person team, which has never happened before in history. Lin Longzhou felt proud these days, but it was not for his own training, but for his ability to continue to provide talents to the Demon Slayer Corps and make some contribution to solving those man-eating evil spirits. "Have you considered whether you need to create a team?" Gensoda looked at the 4 people dressed similarly, and they exchanged glances with each other. "It's confirmed, Master. The 4 of us can form a team. I heard from Mr. Tiehu that such a result has never happened in the Demon Slayer squad. It would be better for the 4 of us to act together," Gensoda suggested, and then Sabito took over, "and the 4 of us have different personalities and strengths. The 4 of us can work together well and complete the task quickly." Master Linlong nodded upon seeing this. "Then give your team a name. I will write to the current head of the Demon Slayer team tonight and ask him to agree to your request to form a team." When it came to naming, everyone immediately became excited. Sabito was the first to suggest, "Since a few of us can breathe water, let's call this team the Water Team. Once you hear it, you will know what we are good at." Makomo immediately shook his head. "Senior brother Sabito, the name you chose is too straightforward. It doesn't make people feel anything. Let me think about it. How about calling it Qingchuan Team?" She looked at Gensoda expectantly, and Gensoda looked at Tomioka Giyu. "I don't care, I don't know what you think, brother Giyu." Tomioka Giyu, who had always said very few words, unexpectedly spoke up. "Qingchuan Team sounds good, but I think we both came from Mount Sagi. Can we use one of the words to point out that we are all people of water? The fact that users of breathing. I think the name Kurikage Team is good, what do you think?" When Tomioka Gyu said to bring the name of their hometown where they practiced, everyone raised their hands in agreement. Then, let's call Kurikage team. Master Linlong, what do you think? Gensoda clapped his hands, and several people looked at Linlong Sakanji. Everyone did not forget to mention him as their master when naming their names, and felt a little warm in their hearts. Since this is the one chosen by you, then so be it. I will write a letter in the evening. Have you decided which one will be yours? Team leader. Let Yuan Kangtai come, everyone said in unison. Ah, let me come, I have no experience as a captain. Yuan Soda was a little unsure. Well, I also think it's good to let Soda be the captain. He has more wisdom than others. Linlongzo nodded for the first time. It's normal to have no experience. After all, not everyone is born to be a captain. You need to adapt slowly. Bar. Looking at the expectant eyes of everyone, Yuan Soda scratched his head and said, okay, I will work hard. Since you don't have any objections to these things, let's have a big meal today. After all, we don't know when you will be recruited to complete the mission. Rinlong Sakanji said, and he took out a few iron pieces from the small box. The things were handed to everyone. This is your status and class assessment. You are all in the final Gui class now. Work hard to complete the tasks and improve your class. Soda, are you actually also in the Gui class? Makomo said with regret, looking at the iron sheet in Minamoto Soda's hand that was the same as theirs. I don't know what's going on. It must be that my strength is too weak. Yuan Kangtai didn't pay much attention to it. After all, this thing can't reflect their strength. It's just a class recognition. Yuan Kangtai is confident in the next year, he was promoted directly to the highest level. Back mountain. Several people were sitting around the boiler, holding chopsticks and constantly picking up the food in the pot. Wow, Soda, your cooking skills are really good. Makomo praised Minamoto Soda while eating. Today, Minamoto Soda showed them his cooking skills, allowing them to see the cooking skills from the previous world. Including but not limited to, sweet and sour fish, pork hot pot, fried dried fish, braised pork ribs, pumpkin soup, etc. Does a poor child become a master early? My sister taught me step by step. Yuan Kangtai told a little lie without changing his face. Gensoda put a piece of ribs into Makomo's bowl. Speaking of which, Master Linlong, did you say that the moment we became members of the Demon Slayer Corps, we would be summoned by them if something happened? That's right, because the frequency of ghost attacks on humans is still quite high. Even now, we still don't know where we might be attacked by evil ghosts. That's it, then I'd better do more tasks in the future to protect the villagers from their attacks. Yuan Soda took a hard bite of the ribs, as if he wanted to tear the evil ghost's body into pieces. This is the meaning of the existence of every member of the Demon Slayer squad. Most of them are ordinary people like you. It is courage and anger that make them strong, and it is also to eliminate all evil ghosts in this world. Longzo looked solemn these days. The next morning, Yuan Kangtai and Master Linlong stood in the pavilion on the back mountain, looking at the three people who were breathing in the practice. A black eagle stood on the shoulder of Rinlong Sakanji, and the eagle spoke, "My lord agreed to your request to form a team, and has great expectations for the team created by your disciple, and looks forward to the next one. A meeting with your presence." Naturally, Gensoda also heard the voice of the Demon Slayer, with an inquiring expression on his face. Master Linlong, does the captain of the Demon Slayer team agree with us? Master Linlong nodded. Yes, the leader of the Demon Slayer squad is not called captain. We often call him Lord. He is really a very gentle and easy to impress person. Speaking of this, Lin Longzo fell into memories for the first time. When I first met him, he was still very young. At that time, he already showed a unique temperament. Even the most unruly member was very sensitive to him. He was respectful. Is that so? My lord must be a very powerful swordsman. No, on the contrary, my lord is not a fighting talent. His body is very weak and he can't even hold out a knife. Ah, Gensoda was very surprised when he arrived. Generally, those who can serve as captains in this kind of team are powerful and extraordinary people, but Master Linlong said that he had no combat power at all. This made Gensoda feel dissatisfied with that lord. More curious. At this time, the sky suddenly cast a few shadows. Urgent report, urgent report. Summon the Kurikage team to go to the town in the northwest to investigate the cause of the girl's disappearance. A sea turtle with green feathers flew onto Gensoda's shoulder and rubbed his face affectionately. The cuckoo and Makomo's cuckoo each flew to their master's shoulders, repeating the task. Several people beside the waterfall retreated from their cultivation state, with different expressions on their faces. Sabito looked a little excited, Giyu looked expressionless, and Makomo looked worried about the missing girls. Yuan Kang held the knife too tightly and said to Master Linlong, "Master Linlong, without further ado, the four of us will set off. The earlier we go, the sooner we can save more girls from being poisoned by evil spirits." The other three people also stood beside him and said goodbye to Master Linlong. The northwest region has more plains but lacks trees. Yuan Kangtai and the others were walking on the slightly desolate yellow land. The sun shone on their backs, and the midday sun seemed a bit fierce. Several of them were sweating profusely. Yuan Kangta looked at the map given to him by Master Linlong in his hand and compared it with the faint house ahead. "We should be almost close to our destination. I saw it is marked like this on the map. Come on, everyone, we will take a rest when we get to the town," Minamoto Soda said. The four of them were wearing aqua blue haori, with a straw hat on their head to protect themselves from the sun. Gensoda made it for several people on the road. Even a character like Giyu couldn't help but praise a few words. It is said that Yuan Zhangtai knows too many things. The beads of sweat fell to the ground and were immediately evaporated by the high temperature. Several people could hardly stay in the hot weather. They felt relieved when they saw the town in the distance and quickened their pace. They entered the town's streets, which were lined with neatly arranged small shops and traditional Japanese buildings. Gensoda and the others were walking on the streets of the town and saw residents wearing traditional kimonos walking leisurely through the streets. Vendors were coming and going, and some people were holding shopping bags and looking for handicrafts in small shops. Makomo couldn't help but sigh. Will evil spirits appear in such a peaceful village? Yuan Soda had already taken a kettle and filled it with water in another shop. He picked up the kettle and took a sip. Evil ghosts will not appear during the day. No matter how much prosperity there is, it will be hidden at night. You can't just look at the surface. I'm going to may I ask where the mission village is? Then he handed the kettle to Makomo, walked quickly to the yelling vendor selling candied haws, and handed him a few copper coins. Brother, do you know where to go to Harada village? A few of us went there for a study tour, but we couldn't find the specific place. Gensoda asked. The candied haws hawker looked at the knives on several people's waists and thought they didn't look like students, but he didn't dare to say it. These days, anyone who goes out with a knife is at least a disciple of the martial arts family. If you accidentally offend them, you will be in trouble. He put the coin in his pocket and said, "Are you going to Pingtian village? If you keep walking along this road, you can see Pingtian village. But I heard that it's not very safe there recently. Young girls often go missing. People nearby don't even dare to send their daughters to play there during the day. I suggest you don't go there to avoid any danger to your companions." Quote. Yuan Kangtai and the others exchanged glances. It seemed that they had found the right place. He smiled and said, "It's okay. After we come, you can go to the village with confidence and boldness. We will solve this problem." The young vendor curled his lips, obviously not taking the words of the young man in front of him to heart, but because he was a customer, he didn't show that disdain on his face. Yuan Soda didn't care what others thought, and took a bunch of candied haws when he left. After all, he had already paid. He casually handed the candied haws to Makomo, with a serious look on his face. "Let's go quickly now, I'm afraid if we delay another day, another girl will be missing." Several people walked across the bridge, but Makomo suddenly grabbed the corner of his clothes and motioned Gensoda to look at the corner. A girl with dull eyes was sitting on the ground obediently. Her clothes were in tatters, she looked a little dull, and she was being used. The rope dragged, obviously trying to sell the girl. Yuan Kangtai narrowed his eyes, and his body exuded a hint of murderous aura. He thought that Makomo and Sabito had the same identity. He couldn't ignore such a thing happening in front of him. Several people walked there and tried to save the girl. At this time, two people came forward. A girl with black hair and purple eyes, wearing emerald green kocho hairpins with pink edges on both sides of her hair, wearing a standard demon slayer uniform with a colorful butterfly pattern haori appeared. She was followed by a girl who was dressed similarly to her but a little shorter than her. Yuan Kantai and others heard the girl's soft voice. Excuse me, where does this girl come from? Why are you holding a rope? Where is she? The arrogant-looking vendor held a thick rope in his hand and said impatiently, where did you come from, kid? If you don't buy it, don't affect my business. Put away your damn curiosity. This is not something you can inquire about. Then he pushed the girl's shoulders with his big scar-covered hands, trying to get her to get away. Just when the girl behind her couldn't help but was about to take action, a handsome boy stood in front of him. Gensoda held the man's wrist tightly, his brows furrowed. Can't you hear her asking you where this girl came from? What are you doing with your hand, don't you want her? Minamoto Soda gradually increased the strength in his hands, and the arrogant vendor's face turned red. How did he know that a random boy who came out could have such great strength? Quickly, let go quickly, ah! My hand is about to break. The cruelty on the merchant's face disappeared, and he kept begging Gensoda for mercy, asking him to let go of his hand. A soft voice came, brother, let go, we still have to ask him something. The girl spoke, and she gently stroked the Kocho logo on the back of her hair. Gensoda turned his head, and then he noticed that the girl who was a few years older than him had an orange, four-leaf clover-shaped Nichiren blades hanging on her waist. And the girl behind her who looks similar to her and should be a sister also has a Nichiren blades on her waist. This time it was their turn to be surprised. Are you also from the Demon Slayer squad? Minamoto Soda made a confused sound. At this time, the girl also discovered a Nichiren blades hanging on Minamoto Soda's waist, and saw the three people coming from behind. There was a hint of understanding in her eyes. You are the four people who won the last selection, right? I heard that you also formed a team, which is big news to us. The girl said softly, and then stretched out her hand to Gensoda. This is the first time we meet. My name is Kocho Kanae, and you can call me Kanae. The soft, boneless little hands separated from Minamoto Soda's at the same moment, leaving a touch of floral fragrance in the air. This is my sister Kocho Shinobu, she is also a member of the Demon Slayer Corps. Kocho Kanae said, pointing to the girl behind. The girl named Kocho Shinobu seems to have a bad temper. But she looked at Minamoto Soda who came forward and introduced herself kindly, Kocho Shinobu, this is our first meeting. Please take good care of me in the future. Yuan Soda did not expect to meet other figures in the organization here. Hello, my name is Minamoto Soda. This time I was instructed to go to a nearby town to complete the task of investigating the disappearance of a girl. Minamoto Soda pointed at the three people who had arrived behind him. These are the other three members of our Fog Shadow team. We are operating together on this mission. The merchant saw that more and more of them were getting more and more. The flesh on their faces kept trembling, and their calves started to tremble as well. He was just a money-grubbing villain, but he didn't want to meet such characters with knives. The eyesight he had trained over the years allowed him to see that these people were ruthless characters who had killed people. He took advantage of a few people not paying attention and ran into the town in a hurry. Giyu saw this and was about to stop him, but Gensoda waved his hand. He is not our target this time. This matter is not that simple. Gensoda squatted down, looked at the slightly dull eyes of the girl on the ground, and tried to talk to her. Hello, my name is Gensoda. You are free now. Where is your home? We can take you back. Quote. The girl didn't react at all, and her expression didn't change after hearing that she was free. Gensoda stood up and shook his head at the three people, indicating that he was helpless. Kocho Kanae squatted down. She looked at the girl with infinite tenderness in her eyes. Hello, my name is Kocho Kanae. Do you have nowhere to go? Do you want to join the Demon Slayer Corps with me? The girl's eyes moved. She instinctively believed in such a soft-spoken elder sister in front of her. She reached out and grabbed the corner of Kocho Kanae's clothes, but still didn't speak. Kocho Kanae helped her up and called her sister's name. A pink handkerchief was handed to her hand. She carefully wiped the dust and wounds on the girl's body. Makomo also squatted down, took out gauze and began to bandage the injured areas on the girl's body caused by long-term friction with the rope. Gensoda and the others looked away. He met Kocho Shinobu's eyes curiously and asked, Miss Kocho Shinobu, are you here because of a mission? Is the mission we took over a mission? Or do you have other ones? Things need to be done. Kocho Shinobu said solemnly. My sister and I have completed a mission, and now we have to rush back to report. Moreover, it is said that Butterfly House has accepted a few newcomers. My sister needs to go back to teach them and take on new missions. Kocho Kanae on the ground wiped the girl's arms and said, that's what Shinobu said. We will take this child to the Demon Slayer headquarters in the evening. There will be an environment for her to live there. I hope she can live well there. Well, what a poor child. Gensoda and the others looked at each other, and he said goodbye to Kocho Kanae. In this case, seniors and we will go on the mission first, and this girl will be left to you. I hope you can treat her well. Wish you good luck in martial arts. Kocho Kanae waved goodbye to several people, and Kocho Shinobu also waved slightly under his sister's gaze. At dusk, Yuan Kangtai and others came to the end of the road mentioned by the Candied Ha's seller. The village was quiet, with flat buildings standing next to each other, but there were few pedestrians on the road. I don't know if I was frightened by the disappearance of the girl. Yuan Soda only saw an old man walking on a cane at the entrance of the village, and no one else. He stepped forward quickly. Hello, old man, is this Pingtian village? The old man raised his head and glanced at Yuan Kauta, his face full of wrinkles. It is indeed here. It is not very peaceful here. Some people disappear. The guards came here a few days ago and did not solve the case. People in the village kept moving to the big buildings outside. The town is gone. He looked at the people behind him who were all carrying knives. I wonder why you guys are here. Sabito took over and said, old man, a few of us are members of the Demon Slayer squad. I heard that the girls here are missing and there are evil spirits behind them. We are here this time to find out the murderer behind the scenes and save those girls. The old man carefully looked at the people in front of him. His rich experience allowed him to know that these children who were as old as his grandson were not bragging, and a touch of joy appeared on his sad face. He dropped his walking stick, as if he was about to kneel down to them, but Yuan Saotai quickly supported him with his quick eyes and hands. Old man, what are you doing? My granddaughter is missing. Just a few evenings ago, she said she would go to the village to get me some wine and come back. I waited for a long time but didn't see her. I went out to look for her in the whole village but couldn't find her. Tears shed from the corners of the old man's eyes. I was the one who harmed her. I linger at the door every day just waiting for her to come back one day. At this point, the old man's tears couldn't stop flowing down. Yuan Soda helped the old man up, and he was going to ask the old man something. After all, they were new to the place and they were not familiar with the place. They couldn't get much useful information with a blind eye. Old man, I don't know when your granddaughter disappeared. Is there anyone else you know who disappeared in the village? Please tell me everything you know so that we can help you find your granddaughter. The old man also knew that this matter was related to the life and safety of his daughter. He did not dare to hide it, so he invited the four of them to his home to rest and replenish their strength before catching ghosts. Yuan Soda exchanged glances with the three people behind him and realized that they all needed to rest to replenish their physical strength. They agreed to the old man's invitation and came to the old man's home together. After the old man entertained them with a meal, he began to talk about the disappearance of his granddaughter. After Tianzi went out to drink that day, I cooked at home and waited for her to come home. I waited around until she came back, so I went out to look for her at the liquor store in the village. But when I got there, they told me they didn't see Mako. Then I asked all the neighbors, and everyone's answer was the same. They had never even seen Mako come out. This made me collapse. I have searched all over the village these days, but I haven't seen a trace of her. She is outside. My working parents are coming home soon, and I don't know how to face them. Speaking of this, the old man couldn't help but cover his face and cry. Gensauda comforted him. The evil spirit must have captured her. We will definitely do our best to find Mako and rescue her. Old man, can you tell me how the other girls disappeared? Yuan Kang asked seriously. Let me think about it. 2 days after Mako disappeared, another family far away from our home lost a girl named Maifeng. Then 2 days later, another one disappeared. Last night, another one disappeared. Now girls don't dare to go out at night. There was a touch of fear on the old man's face. After listening to this information, Yuan Soda gradually had a general idea in his mind. It must be impossible for people to disappear out of thin air. There must be other reasons, such as. He met Gyu's eyes. Vampire magic, the two said in unison. It must be related to the blood ghost technique that allows evil spirits to hide themselves. Last time I met an evil ghost on the mountain who could reduce his sense of existence. I almost didn't find him. Gensoda said to the other two people who were confused. So, the evil ghost used some kind of blood ghost technique to hide himself and the kidnapped person, and after abducting him, he went to a safe place. Minamoto Soda realized his gaffe and immediately changed the subject. Old man, please take us to the place where your granddaughter disappeared and see if we can find any useful information. Yuan Kang looked serious. They came to the side door of the old man's house. Junzi disappeared on this trail. I asked the neighbors near my home, and they all said that they didn't see Junzi at their door. She could only have disappeared on this road. The old man pointed to the path between the two houses. The ground was paved with cobblestones and looked extremely smooth. Gensoda took a lantern and searched the ground carefully, trying to find some useful traces. He stared at the ground tightly, trying to find things like hair, blood stains, and signs of resistance. The other three people were also searching the alley. At this time, Makomo suddenly said, I have traces here. Come and take a look. The few people who heard the sound immediately gave up their search and looked at the place pointed by Makomo's hand. There were slight scratches on the wall of the house next door, like fingernail scratches, and there was a hair as thin as a copper wire on the ground. Yuan Soda picked up the hair and narrowed his eyes. This hair did not fall naturally, but was cut by some kind of sharpness. Then pointing to the end of the hair, can you get closer and see if this is the case? Everyone gathered together and tried to see something on the hair. The fracture is very neat. It is indeed the mark of a sharp object. I just don't know if it is a weapon like a sword or something like a claw. There are indeed no traces of fighting at the scene. It should be that the victims were relatively weak and unable to fight. They were frightened and lost their ability to move. But I don't know why the evil spirits didn't eat them. Minamoto Soda said. There's no blood on the ground at all. Let's move to another place and take a look. Everyone explored the approximate places where several other girls disappeared, and found that most of them were like this. The girls were not brutally murdered immediately after they disappeared, but were taken away and disappeared without a trace. Yuan Soda frowned, as if he had encountered some unsolved problem. Have evil spirits ever caught but not eaten them? Doesn't it mean that evil spirits have an irresistible allure to human flesh and blood? Could it be that they were afraid of being caught, so they moved their prey to a safe place to enjoy it again? Sabito put forward a hypothesis. It's not necessary. Tomioka Gyu expressed his opinion, assuming that the evil ghost's blood ghost technique is an ability to transport living creatures. There is no difference between what he ate at the time and what he took away, and even if it is not, it is better to eat and beat the prey into incapacity, otherwise the girl yelling on the road will eventually be affected. Gensoda nodded. Gyu is right. It can be easily concluded now that the evil spirits may have been driven by some kind of power, allowing them to take away the girl, and this power is greater than their instinctive desire for flesh and blood led them to bring the girl back instead of eating her on the spot. Now the goal is very clear, so there is a ghost with a higher status. He drives his men to various places to collect girls, and then provide him with a certain purpose, which may be to eat, or to complete some kind of ceremony. Without further ado, Gyu, summon your own crow to send a message to the Demon Slayer headquarters and ask if there are any signs of missing girls in other places. Minamoto Soda said. The black crow soared into the sky, taking away the information collected by Yuan Kangtai and others. What should we do next? Makomo asked. The core of their team was Gensoda. I'm going to ask the old man to discuss with other people in the village to see if any girl with stronger physical strength is willing to show up once. As a bait, I will use my life as a guarantee, and then you guys will disperse according to the layout of the village. Once an early warning is issued, try to trap the evil spirits and put your own safety first. Gensoda entered the room and told the old man his reasoning, and he promised that there would be no problems with the girl. The old man was in trouble. Mr. Yuan, it's not a question of whether I am willing or not. My granddaughter and several other people have disappeared, but most of them have not been affected. Who would be willing to give up their daughter's life to someone else? Where are the people I know? There is nothing I can do about it. Minamoto Soda held down the hilt of the knife. Old man, you may not know my strength. Ordinary demons can't walk for more than a few rounds in front of me. I am the strongest newcomer in the Demon Slayer Corps this time. Please believe it. Yuan Soda bowed to the old man, and this is also for your future safety. The old man was infected by the confidence of the young man in front of him. He stood up and helped Origin Soda. Tonight I will ask other people's opinions one by one and do my best. If I can't persuade you, then there's nothing I can do. Quote. Minamoto Soda accompanied the old man to the door of each house. Most people declined them politely, thinking that such a young boy in front of them did not have the ability to help them, and they were unwilling to bet with their daughter's life. When they arrived at the last house, a middle-aged woman with makeup on her face came out. Her waist was a bit thick. When she heard about the old man's proposal, she started to curse. Well, you old thing. You lost your granddaughter and you came to harm our family. Don't think that I don't know what old people like you have planned. You want to get someone to support you, right? Let me tell you, my Jame is no better than your Mako. She is so honest and responsible. She never goes out at night, so we are in peace now. Let me see, yours might have been seduced by a wild man, soul. The old woman kept chattering, just like the sparrows in the tree who kept chattering annoyingly. That's enough, shut up. Yuan Kauta finally couldn't help shouting. Facing the boy who suddenly burst out with power, the woman suddenly became speechless. She didn't know who the boy in front of her was, but he was so majestic. She was at a loss when he roared. The woman was a little scared as she looked at the young man's hand pressing the knife. But when she found that the boy had no intention of drawing out the knife, her courage gradually returned to her body. What's wrong, young man? Is there something wrong with what I said? Are you going to kill me if I don't promise you? Why didn't I see you were so powerful when I was looking for evil spirits? The woman pinched her waist and spitted. That's not something you should worry about. Yuan Kautai helped the old man with tears in his eyes and said coldly to the woman, you'd better stay at home. If you encounter an evil ghost, don't blame me, remind you. The two figures gradually disappeared, and the woman closed the door disdainfully. A person like a broomstar still dares to interfere in our affairs. What she didn't see was that after she closed the door, a blob of something with a faint black light followed her into her house. Gensoda came to the street. There were 3 people standing on the street who were looking forward to him. Gensoda looked at the 3 people and shook his head, indicating that his plan had failed. How come? Don't they believe in our strength? Makomo said with confusion on his face, but we are doing this for them. If the evil spirits are not eliminated for a day, they will be in danger even if they run into the town. They are not willing to let their daughters take risks. The reason is not only that they don't believe us. After all, things have not happened to them and they cannot empathize with others. Yuan Kang said lightly. If they can't catch the evil spirit tonight, they will be anxious tomorrow and start the second plan. Makomo, you will play the girl next door and see if the evil spirit will take the bait. But junior sister Makomo should have murderous intent in her body. Can this be used to catch evil spirits? Sabito had his own doubts. I can't be sure, but there is no other way now. The village is too big and our number is too small. Let's separate. I will follow Makomo to protect her. You should pay attention to other places. Minamoto Soda said. Tomioka Giyu nodded and disappeared here with a few taps of his feet. Sabito ran in the other direction. Remember to send the signal. Gensoda said to Sabito. Sabito gestured with the OK sign without looking back. That was what Gensoda taught him. It means that I have heard what you said and will abide by it. After a while, the sky became gloomy, and there was no other light except the lights on the street, especially on the alleys at the corners, where you couldn't see your fingers. Gensoda walked along the street with Makomo who had changed into Mako's clothes. He kept following Makomo, making sure she was within sight. Makomo, like an ordinary little girl, quickened her steps and walked home on the road, as if she was afraid of the appearance of an evil ghost. Until they reached the end of the street, nothing happened. Minamoto Soda appeared and stood with Makomo. It seems there is nothing we can do tonight. We didn't catch any evil spirits this time. There are only 2 possibilities. One is that they discovered us and avoided us, and the other is that they probably won't do it tonight. Then what should we do now? Makomo raised her face and looked at Gensoda, and suddenly her nose wrinkled. Seeing the sudden change in Makomo's expression, Minamoto Soda subconsciously pressed the handle of the knife. He didn't know what happened and began to look around cautiously. Soda, I smelled the breath of an evil spirit, and it's still alive. It must have just appeared. Makomo's eyebrows knitted together as he searched hard. Gensoda followed her until Makomo stopped. Gensoda suddenly realized that they were standing at the door of the poisonous woman. This is it. The evil spirit's breath disappeared at this door, so he must have gone in. Makomo pointed with his little finger to the door made of light yellow wooden boards. The door was closed tightly at the moment, and there were no signs of any harm at all. Did the woman invite this evil spirit in? Why is there no trace of destruction? Yuan Soda asked in doubt. Makomo's nose twitched, and she pointed under the door. It should have gotten in through here, I smelled it. It must have used the vampire technique. The two looked at each other and decided not to send a signal for the time being, so as not to alert the enemy. Yuan Soda knocked on the wooden door gently. Is anyone here? Please open the door. We apologize to you for what happened just now. 2 minutes ago. Jame, who was wearing pink pajamas, heard the conversation at the door and subconsciously wrapped her clothes tightly. She was not angry when she heard the boy wanted to use her as bait. Mako is her friend. Although her character is not as lively as Mako, she can still do something for the safety of her friends. But hearing her mother's harsh words, she hesitated again. Her character is so weak that she has to listen to what her mother says. She watched the door being closed and rushed to her room immediately. She was afraid that her mother would see her and curse her again. Jame subconsciously speeded up her pace, but she didn't notice that there seemed to be two shadows on the ground under the faint moonlight, which were indescribably weird. Jame returned to her room. She covered herself with a quilt, trying not to think about Mako and wanting to fall asleep quickly. But she didn't know if it was because of the weather, but she felt a little cold. She subconsciously tightened her quilt, and found that the cold feeling was getting closer and closer to her. She was a little scared in her mind, and gradually thought of the stories of evil ghosts that had been circulating in the village these days. She suddenly sat up and ran towards the door. The evil ghost next to her who was using her vampire skills was stunned for a moment. He wanted to eat her whole body and bed together with his vampire technique, and then transport her out, but he didn't expect that the girl had such mobility and actually ran away. The evil ghost's name is Ryusuke. At first he was just a minion among the evil ghosts, until that day he brought a complete girl to the adult, who happily gave him new blood. As a result, his vampire technique changed, and its scope expanded a lot. Vampire Art Swamp World. Originally, this blood ghost technique had a long release time and a small range. At most, it could make the enemy difficult to move for a few seconds during battle. During one action, he was almost killed by a woman wearing a kocho decoration. After that, he started his own alternative path to becoming stronger, catching young girls for that adult and gaining powerful strength. At this moment, he had completed most of his vampire skills, but the target suddenly ran out. This mobility made him ashamed. Fortunately, most of the vampire skills that have been completed will not disappear, as long as he does not have a fierce fight during this period. He turned the swamp world into a gray ring and placed it behind his back. His whole body disappeared on the ground like water, turning into a black shadow and running towards the girl. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.